What is going on, everybody? Sean Daniel here with Guitar Control, and today we're going to talk about taking two things that you already know and maybe thinking about separately and combining them into one thing that could be a more musical way that you can start incorporating into your playing. So make sure you click the link below because I've got everything tabbed out. And again, you probably already know everything conceptually about what we're going to talk about today, but maybe you haven't combined them in this way. So really it just comes down to minor chords. We're going to take the three minor chords in the key of C: A minor, E minor, and D minor. Okay? You may already know those. We'll go over them again in a second. And we're going to combine them with the minor pentatonic scale, which looks like this. Okay? So I remember when I was first starting out learning guitar, and again, I never had like any lessons or anything, I was self-taught. I always knew that I was supposed to know these chord voicings, I was supposed to know this minor pentatonic scale. I never really knew how to incorporate them into a musical context. So that's something I really want to kind of talk about today, as far as what is in a minor chord and how a chord is also a scale, all right? So let's start with A minor, okay? One of the first chords you learn, one of the most common chords. Technically, we're going to look at this as the sixth chord in the key of C. Again, key is just 7 different notes: C, D, E, F, G, A. That's the sixth note. So A minor is going to be our chord. Open A, 2D, 2G, 1B, and open E. Now, a lot of times we think about these chords as shapes, like a handshake. And so often a lot of players don't really ever even consider the notes that go inside this chord, okay? So really quickly, if we just look at the notes, we have an open A, which is an A string, 2 on the D string, which is an E, 2 on the G string, which is an A, 1 on the B string, which is a C, and then open E. So A, E, A, C, E. Alright, now, it might not seem important, but it's really good to know those notes because they'll start popping up all over the place, all over the fretboard, and really understanding how the fretboard works is really important to your playing, and to be able to maybe make things sound musical, not repetitive, just like chords or just like scales, stuff like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine the A minor pentatonic scale, which is a 5-note scale of A minor, and then combine it with this A minor triad chord, okay? A triad is just a chord with 3 different notes. So really, once we see this in scale form, you might think about it differently. So the A minor pentatonic scale starts on A, which is the 5th fret of the low E string, which is the exact same note, same pitch as the root note in our A minor chord. The root note of an A minor chord is open A. The root note of this scale position is going to be 5E, which is also an A. Now the minor pentatonic scale looks like 5-8, down a string, 5-7, down a string, 5-7, down a string, 5-7, down a string, 5-8, down a string, 5-8. Okay? Now, again, what we want to do here is start combining these notes to this chord. And if we just look at the notes that we have, instead of thinking them as numbers on the fretboard, 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, it's good to think of them as notes. A, C, D, E, G, A. And then they just repeat. That's the beautiful thing about the pentatonic scale. It's only 5 different notes. Even though we have different locations to play them, it's good to start thinking about them as names of notes, okay? So A, C, D, E, right? Just those first 4. Let's just concentrate on just those first 4. And remember, a lot of those notes are in this chord. Remember, we just said this A minor chord was just a combination of the notes A, C, and E. So A, C, D, E. These are the 3 notes that make up this chord. Another name for this right here is an arpeggio. We're taking a chord and playing it 1 note at a time. That's what an arpeggio is, all right? We can get this from the A minor pentatonic scale. We can get this from the A minor scale. Doesn't really matter how we're thinking of it as a musician. It just matters that we know where these notes are located. And then also what other notes we can add to it to make more of a musical flavor. And that's why this pentatonic scale is nice, because we have the ability to add 2 more notes to this minor triad. A, C, D, that D note wasn't in it, there's E, and that G note wasn't in it. So these 2 notes we can add to this chord, and we know it's going to sound good, okay? Now technically if we add one of these notes, we might actually change the name of the chord, but we're not worried about that because we just want it to sound good. We're not really totally concerned with the actual name of everything combined. We're thinking of 2 different concepts and changing that, and combining them together, right? So If you just want to get used to it, you can just strum the chord and then hit the scale, right? A minor chord, A minor pentatonic scale. What I just did right there, which I'll tab out, and that thing that you can click below, is I'm going to play the chord once, but instead of hitting 1, 2, 3, I'm going to hit the root note, A, the fifth of A, which is E, and then strum the chord. So A, E, chord, pentatonic scale run. And I'm just going straight up. There's really nothing, fancy or creative about this yet. That's going to be on you how you want to use this stuff, but this is a good way to kind of get into. And then maybe the next time, because again, that's just the first half of what we have on the tab sheet of the entire shape. Then maybe the second time, do the last half. A minor chord, pentatonic run. A minor chord, then the second half. Eventually you can get like a little more creative. Okay, so what I did there is I played the notes a little bit out of order the first time. A minor chord. Okay, and that was just, I'm just randomly taking any of these notes that I kind of drilled in my practice so my muscle memory knows how to kind of jump in and out of that shape, somewhat seamlessly. And again, easier said than done for sure. I totally understand. For forever, the first, 1,000 times I played the pentatonic scale, tried to make it sound musical, I was just going forward, backward. That's why it's good to be able to slide into different parts of it and just kind of mess around, okay? Again, it's not about learning one specific lick. It's about being able to create your own out of just your knowledge of this shape. So maybe the first time, and the second time. Okay, the second time what I did there is I'm doing a thing called double stopping through that pentatonic scale shape. I noticed that when I do the whole shape, those last two strings are the same thing, 5 to 8, 5 to 8. So when you double stop it, you can play two notes at the same time. 5 and 5, and 8 and 8. Okay? A minor chord. I can just go back to that. I can almost see this as like an extension of this chord. However you want to end up playing it, that's where, a lot of the fun and creativity of playing an instrument come into play, just because you can do whatever you want. Now, this is one example, and that's over an A minor chord. Remember, I said there are 3 minor chords in this key that we're working in, right? So the other one is going to be E minor. Really, potentially even an easier chord, right? Open E, 2 A, 2 D, open, 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 all the way down, okay? So, again, one of the easiest shapes that you can learn on guitar, but what are the notes behind this shape? We have an open E, this is an E note. We have 2 on the A string, B. We have 2 on the D string, that's another E. E, B, E, and then just the open names of the strings, G, B, E. So it's another triad, 3 different notes. Doesn't matter how many doubles of notes there are. Like I said, we have not 1, not 2, but 3 E's in this chord. Doesn't matter, as long as each note is represented at least once. That's a triad, E, G, and B. Now we can do the exact same thing using the exact same pentatonic scale shape. Doesn't even matter that we're in a key that's not E minor, we can still use these notes. Okay? Same shape as the A, but now starting on E. E, G, A, B, D, E. Now, this is an open position pentatonic shape. When I say that, that just means the open string is the first note of 2 on each one. But what I actually want to do is do the beginning scale shape on an E on a different string, okay? So the 7th fret on the A string is an E. We can still do most of that beginning shape. So we have 7, 10 on the A string, which is an E and a G. 7, 9 on the D string, which is a B and an A. Well, an A and a B. And then 7, 9 on the G string, which is a D, and then another E. Okay? So, E minor chord. Same thing as before. Root, 5th chord, into another position. And the cool thing is, because these chords work well together, you'll always see A minor and E minor. The scales that go with those chords will also work together. Okay? So I can start jamming on this E minor to this A minor to E minor. I can use the double stops from the first shape and then jump into the. You can kind of make them interchangeable. Again, there are certain ways to make this sound better than others, like maybe the A minor will always pair a little bit better with the A minor shape, but still, use that E minor shape over an A minor. Again, because all this stuff is in the same key, it's not going to sound bad. Some choices just might sound a little more interesting. Now the next thing we're going to do is going to do the same thing with the D minor chord. Okay, so first finger on the first fret of the high E string, pinky. I use my pinky for the 3rd fret on the B string. Some people use the ring finger. Doesn't matter. You know, be a champion either way. And then middle finger, 2nd fret on the G string. Bottom 4 strings down. D minor chord. We have a D, an open D string. That's a D. We have 2 on the G string, which is an A. We have 3 on the B string, which is a D. D, A, D. And then 1 on the high string, which is an F. So D, F, and A make up the D minor chord triad. Just like before, we can find a D note, 5th fret on the A string, and add that same pentatonic minor shape. D minor chord, D minor chord, A minor, E minor, D, A, double stop, E minor, again, a lot of different ways you can combine them, but it's just good to kind of really practice these locations so you can really start jamming out like a true hero. So this is just one example in one key. The nice thing is all these shapes move together. So like we said, we have this first A minor position, and then we also have, if you just go down a string and do it, that's the D's position. Take that same thing 2 frets higher. These 3 spots are always going to work together. So let's say you're in a different key and you have a G minor to start with, and then your other chords are maybe like C minor and D minor. Everything is still going to work together. Really? It's all just about making these connections in your mind and then being able to, you know, transfer them into your fingers to make some of that fretboard magic. So anyways, let me know what you think. If you have any other connections you want to share with people that have been helpful to you, we'd love to hear it. And also make sure to check out some of the other videos on the Guitar Control channel for myself, other great instructors. You can click on any of these titles around me, or just kind of navigate to the website and see all the content that we've got. Always looking for more suggestions on what you guys want to learn. So please hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.